Chapter 10. The Aftermath of Half a Man. After the semi-painful meal, Sena and the kids returned to the auditorium. There, privacy partitions and desks had been set up, and it looked like a simple job fair. The reception area seemed to be determined by the morning's classifications, and without hesitation, Gushika headed for the numbered box assigned to them, followed by Sena and Cheeto.
Oh!
You're back. You've been up to no good. Sena and the kids sat on the couch with the three of them across the desk from each other, as if they were having an interview. The women who got their hair washed demanded that you be made a permanent staff member. What a surprise, the men are jointly named too. We don't wash hair for the men, do we? Because it makes it easier for us. Baragaru's words had real substance. Incidentally, the men at that point were playing some stuff with Cheeto, who was letting loose. Is that Mr. Archie? Why did you say that name? I heard he was in a bad mood or something when he was talking about goblins. Oh, he was. Especially when it comes to beauty-related matters, women are terrifying. Even more so since rumors spread that the little boy's hair-washing skills were the same or better than the ones he received at the nobleman's place. Gushika, who probably knew how the women felt, happily nodded her head in affirmation several times as she listened to Baragaru's words. Nobles? High-ranking hunter-adventurers often receive requests from the nobility. When that happens, they are often entertained at the mansion or invited to parties. Sometimes I would be invited to their homes to get freshened up. Of course, I've said no, but be careful, because they might find out you're helping the Pito boys and barge in at that time of day. Even if you tell me to be careful, it's the same place for men and women here. There was nowhere to run, and he'd hate even more to give up that bath. Then you're going to have to limit the number of people. And while we're on the subject, you're good with that one, right? Baragaru lowered his voice and glanced at Gushika and Cheeto. Yes, if it's okay with you. Okay, then let's get started. Baragaru's voice was a little subdued as he opened what looked like a ledger with a tally written on it. As expected, his usual volume of voice would be heard everywhere. Your party came in third today. The total number was 235, and the weight was 705 kilograms. Gushika quickly interrupted Cheeto, who was about to shout at the number. It was as if she had anticipated his reaction. In her case, she had experience and had probably anticipated a certain quantity from the time of the hunt. The unit price is fixed at 600, so the total is 435,000 yen. I've doubled the weight because the animals in the forest were large, and the Queen Pito's meat is a high-end product. Okay, so, per person. Well, wait. That's just the price of the Pito. The Queen Pito has a magical organ, which is more developed than we thought, and it's priced at 100,000. If it had been intact, I could have added a little more for the blood, but that's not an option in that situation. Gushika was all smiles at the unexpected bonus. Well, lastly, the little boy. Sena, not Cheeto. The prosciutto the little boy picked. Piffed. Gushika almost shouted this time. But she quickly covered her mouth. She knew what it meant. After the appraisal, all 30 pieces were found to be of the finest quality. There are collectors who specialize in this stuff, and they are usually contracted by the Guild of Magical Apothecaries, and it is common for hunter-adventurers to bring in a few pieces a year, if they happen to find them at all. They are of average quality, and the finest have probably never been brought in since the beginning of the Guild's history. So you're going to send it to the Guild of Witchcraft and Pharmacy? Don't be silly. This is a great opportunity. I'm not going to let them take it away. Baragaru clenched his fists with a big smile. It sounds like some kind of trouble. I mean, the fact that we have the right to buy and sell the extra potion made from this guy is important. The Guild of Magical Apothecaries sells potions only to the royal nobility, and hunter-adventurers are not allowed to sell to the guild. Of course, we can't monopolize all of the potions from there, but we don't have an adversarial relationship with them, so we can't help it. However, the trade of the extra potions made will be auctioned off to a select group of guild members so that the nobility will not be involved. So that's what you mean. It's become somewhat important. What are you talking about? In return for finding the prosciutto, you kids will receive a portion of the proceeds from the auction. Well, good luck getting a good price for it. If you want to watch the auction, you can, but you don't have the right to participate. This is going to be a real mess. Yes, it is. But maybe we can make some progress on this. So, the buy-in price for the prosciutto is 2.4 kilos in all. This one has a unit price in grams, 3,000. Highest quality, so it got the highest price. This one is taxed, so the total is 5.76 million yen. He couldn't decide if that was high or low, but it was certainly about 10 times the total of today's pitto. Both Gushika and Cheeto were silent now. They were getting shakier and shakier. Don't want it. I don't want it. It was my brother who took that. He assured him, his voice trembling. Gahahaha. That's the son of Gaspar. You are wise. It's better to push the troublesome matter to this little boy and forget about it. Now, once the income and expenditure reports were finished, the next step was to decide how the money would be handed over. The basic plan was to deposit the money in the guild, but if the family was struggling financially, they took home what they needed for the day. However, in some places it was not safe for children to take money home, so they were sent home as a group while there was still daylight. Many parents worked at this market, and some came to pick up their children. If it was still deemed dangerous, the guild may provide an escort. What about Gashika and the others? I can give them a ride if you want. I have a friend I always go home with, and Cheeto lives in an apartment owned by the guild, so it's close by. Okay. So, as far as the distribution of the money, you have no problem with what we talked about this morning, right? That's still more than 4 times the usual amount. Sena got 8 and Gushika and Cheeto get 1 each, but unlike in the morning, Cheeto didn't seem to have any objections. But sis, you can go too. I'm good. The house won't be in trouble anytime soon, and most of all, hunting with my brother is a great learning experience. It's not every day I get a chance to learn something like this. Yeah, I agree. 3rd place is a long way off for me. It was a pessimistic statement about the loss of the situation when a month passed, or even sooner. Welcome back. How was your first day of pitto hunting? Back at Baragaru's house, Nana greeted Sena with a smile. It was a smile that made him glad to be tired from work. It was the kind of adorable gesture that would make Kai, Kenneth, or Rajo jump at him, saying, I don't care if it's a male. It was fun. I was 3rd in the number of hunts. I'm glad to hear that. What would you like to eat? There's a great server at the guild market. Oh, she's famous. Then I don't think you'll be able to eat. Please only feed me in the mornings for a while, because Baragaru-san is going to be late. I understand. Have you already taken a bath? Yes, I enjoyed Baragaru-san's pride and joy. I see. I left the magic crystals that need to be filled in the usual place. Oh, okay. Thank you. Leaving Nana, Sena went upstairs to his usual place. There was a small wooden box on the work desk, containing the magic crystals to be filled. 20 today, huh? I don't think this one is for lighting over there. I'm glad it's not for military use. Now we don't have to worry about the magical element pattern leaking out. Baragaru seemed to be aware of it, but I guess that makes me feel safer. Sena's expression brightened as one source of anxiety was resolved. And since the speed at which he could replenish his internal magical elements through breathing had recently become even faster, he didn't need to take breaks when filling the medium volume magical crystal in front of him. Sena could do it even faster, but he was careful not to inadvertently turn the crystals into pure crystals. Since he already had nearly 80 million magical elements, he could easily exceed the filling limit if the speed of filling the normal crystals was not controlled. This reminds me of the time I just completed bioenhancement. Baragaru left a note with the approximate required filling volume, but if the filling speed was too fast, pure crystallization would occur as well as overfilling. After all, he had been trying to keep a constant speed since he realized that it was the filling pressure that was the problem. Well, when I become an official hunter-adventurer, I will probably have to fill magic crystal equipment, so this is good training for then. Also, thanks to this part-time job, I now know how much Baragaru trusts you. Thanks to this part-time job, he understood the numerical standard of magical elements, and he knew that the values measured by him and those measured by them were almost the same, and that there was no deception in the part-time fee based on the amount of filling. But it's sad to say that all the work we do is offset by the debt. And yet, you seem to be having a lot of fun watching the numbers go down. It turned out that the large amount of magical element filling work unexpectedly facilitated the crystallization of the magical element organs. Of course, there was no explosive growth as was the case of polar crystallization, scanning of the magical element organs, and differentiation of the magical element, but compared to other operations, the crystallization rate was the best. Now, the rest is the usual task. Then the daily routine was to check each point connected by spirit threads, organize the items in the spirit thread storage, train in the magic they had developed so far, and search for new magic. How's the progress on the city warding issue? Is there going to be any monitoring or anything like that? They have recently increased their vigilance, and the intervals between scans along the city streets are quite random. Passcodes have been found, and scans of the entire warding area are also being done at random intervals. There is no surveillance at this time. So you're saying it's hard to time the activation of the points? Are you alarmed? When multiple senses were given to the magic sphere, people and animals with keen intuition sometimes reacted to it, but if only one was used, it never reacted to anyone or any kind of warding. But the monstrous wards that covered the entire city could detect even one of them. It may have been constructed by someone who knows the technology above. However, I don't know how much of the magical element that maintains these wards and how they are replenished, but I doubt that such vigilance can be performed for any length of time. We'll just have to wait and see for a while. You can receive emergency calls from ZINV, right? Yes, we can receive emergency calls from ZINV. Since it does not respond to radio waves, and since the emergency call is instantaneous and the encryption code is impossible to decipher, the main question is whether anyone will be aware of the transmission. Radio communication was not practical in space, but that was the lesson he learned when Terrence marker paint bullets put a radio blockade in place. So it's impossible to receive hyperspace transmissions. Well, it's only for a moment, and I don't think there's even the concept of radio communication here. Although they didn't understand how it worked, magical communication may be a kind of hyperspace communication by spirit threads. And the sky people only used hyperspace communication. Radio was a brilliant gap technology. Yet we must not let our guard down. The best thing is that nothing is going to happen to ZNV. Still, the marker bullets gave me a lot of trouble, but it's a weird feeling because the strangest things are useful. So, on the communications front, I was thinking, if we can get the magical element library to record the outside technology, we can all use that magic on all the magical element worlds. I'm sure that's what you're talking about. Yes! Is that it? If each person has their own pattern of internal magic elements, even after registering it in the library, I would like to be able to only use my magic essence pattern to activate magic. You're pretty devious yourself. So it is possible. Nayuta has leveled up. I didn't expect you to make that kind of joke. I didn't have time to go along with it either. Can you do it? Really? But only for magic developed by Sena, and if others develop something similar to that magic, the protection will be lifted. That's fine. It's a bit awkward that I'm the only one who can use it, but otherwise it's a big mess and I might accidentally activate something bad. I don't have anything that needs to be protected at the moment, though. There are a lot of things that could be bad if people know they can be used, though. I'm sure there will be more disguise-type magic in the future. Sena prayed to Tsunami that he would soon become a normal hunter-adventurer. In the middle of the night, two shadows, one male and one female, were seen in the large bathroom supervised by Baragaru. One was Baragaru and the other was Baron Herrera Margardo Nashbar, the lord of the estate. She was a beautiful woman with slightly upturned eyes and thick lips that give her a sense of softness, and her body was a little chubby, but this gave her a moist, sexy appearance. They soaked in the bathtub, the lights completely dimmed, and gazed up at the star-filled sky. Prosciutto in third place for Pitto Harvest. I certainly see promise here. I'm sure it's not just luck, but ability as well. By the way, come on. Herrera placed her hand glamorously on Baragaru's shoulder, but Baragaru popped it with a snap of his fingers. You're going to have to deal with the Magic Potions Guild. The expected production quantity is 5 bottles. He wants to get 3 bottles somehow. All of them if he can. And the secret of how that guy found the prosciutto, I guess? Gahahaha. That's a brazen story on top of pushing scraps on us. That's what a great noble creature is. They really believe that the world revolves around them. It's not like the old days when communication was bad. The guilds all over the continent have already been notified, so there will be a lot of special class people here. Even if you're a great noble, you'll go bankrupt if you try to buy 3 of them. Those who gathered for the auction were those who had been approved by the Hunters and Adventurers Guild. They were the ones who would not be bought off by the nobility. If they were to bribe them, they would first spend a lot of money there. And if the same information was being sent to guilds all over the continent, it meant that there were aristocrats all over the continent who had obtained this information. If they had to win an auction on top of that, you can't imagine how much money they would have to spend. If the pride and competitiveness of the nobility were involved, it would be a quagmire. And since they want 3 of them, you can imagine how reckless they were asking for it. Of course, as long as the Guild of Magical Apothecaries has a route that specializes in prosciutto, there's no merit in overreacting for a few irregular bottles. I'm sure they'll back off as soon as they find out it's no good. But I'm sure both the Arcane Pharmacy Guild and the Great Nobility will want the secret of how that guy was able to find 30 top-quality prosciutto. Wouldn't they want it? The extra potion was not something that even the guilds of witchcraft and pharmacy could produce in such abundance. And not enough of them were available to the nobility and royalty. In the first place, the extra potion was an insurance policy for emergencies. No one was satisfied with just 1 bottle. There was a Queen Pitto where she wasn't supposed to be, so he dug around to see what he could find. That's all there is to it. If the kid doesn't do the same thing in the future, it'll die down soon. Doesn't that bother you? I'm sure the kid is doing something behind my back, but that's normal for hunters and adventurers. The secret to a long life is not to dig him up. You like him a lot, don't you? There's a lot going on behind the scenes, isn't there? Competent and serious. There's no reason to dislike him. It's better to have them on your side than be against them. And since the guild is afraid that the monopoly will be broken, even the nobility will not be willing to look into the future of the extra potion trade. It was not only the great nobility, as Herrera put it, that the Guild of Potions and Medicine was doing business with. He wasn't stupid enough to stick his hand in their territory and piss them off. You want to break it up, don't you? What I want is the unification of both guilds, just like you. I'm not interested in winning or losing. As long as the value of the magic liquid crystal is increasing, there will come a time when we have to make up our minds somewhere. Otherwise, both sides will fall together. Only the royalty and nobility will be happy, huh? Even within the Sea of Monsters, where most of the demons reside, there were some borders. However, most of it was impossible to guard and was practically no land at all. And the fact that they were hunting demons from there with their own troops meant that they were in a near constant state of war. Considering the maintenance costs and the wear and tear on the soldiers, it would have been far cheaper to outsource the guilds of hunters and adventurers to the private sector and buy the necessary materials from them or collect them as taxes. For this reason, the guilds of hunters and adventurers in each country were eventually integrated into a single organization, which had a great deal of influence over the country. In any case, if the 2 guilds were to become enemies, the royalty and nobility would side with the Guild of Magical Apothecaries and attack us. If the leadership of each country were to join in the conflict, it could lead to a major war. If that happens, this continent will be swallowed up by the magical tree. I understand. I'll try not to get too involved in this matter. You take care of the other thing. Having reached a decision, Herrera gently leaned against Baragaru. The next day, Sena finished his usual deliveries, ate Nana's breakfast, and then went to the guild market to visit the restaurant where he had been to with Baragaru yesterday. He had not paid much attention when he was with Baragaru yesterday, but he was curious to see how much breakfast was served there. You have to eat right in the morning. That elf lady was full of energy, even though it was early in the morning, and she was handing out to the kids the same small pot of barley porridge as yesterday's dinner, with vegetables on top and a large chunk of grilled meat. Was it that early in the morning? It's amazing that no child has gained weight after 3 meals like that. I know I have to eat well in the morning, but that amount of food is indeed tough. You there? You're the guy from yesterday, aren't you? Don't just stand there, come down here. The elf lady suddenly pointed at Sena and exclaimed. After much questioning and hesitation, Sena was eventually defeated by the smiling lady and given the same meal as last night, a large pot of rice porridge with 2 pieces of meat. The barley porridge was lightly flavored with a little curry. He thought that curry was popular among children in this world. The meat was pork and a bird-like meat with a sweet sauce, which really stimulated his appetite, but it was too much to eat after breakfast, and he had to put more than 2/3 of the meat in spirit thread storage. Sena was rubbing his heavy stomach as he made his way to the auditorium. Oh, what a mess. I didn't think they would remember my face. Why don't we just go there every morning and eat emergency food? You shouldn't eat without working, but since you do work, why not? She's the one who found you and called out, so I guess that's what makes your life worth living. She must have a reason to live, because she seems to try to feed me whenever she can. Then, since it's a favor, I'll indulge her. I'd be very grateful if I could stock up on emergency rations. If he couldn't eat it and wanted to stockpile it, that was out of the question, but since he was given this much to eat, it was in the spirit of, oh well, to stockpile it rather than throw it away. In the auditorium, many children had already finished eating and were gathering to talk the day's plot assignments. Those with experience knew where the plots were today and had information on which of them were good hunting grounds. The morning lottery was the first try of the day, and as usual, Cheeto and Gushika were far away from the group, but the looks from the group were a bit different than yesterday. That was yesterday? 3rd place, isn't it thanks to that adult? But, normally. It seemed that the previous evening's events were already being gossiped about. For hunter-adventurers, the results of their hunts were directly related to their reputation. In Cheeto's case, it was the parents who were the problem, so the evaluation of their achievements must be different. Of course, it all depended on how you judged the plus alpha of Sena. Good morning. Good to see you today. Sena greeted them calmly, as if he didn't care about the noise around him. The evaluation of the people around him was just noise. He was still in the stage of interest, and he still needed more achievements to make it a clear evaluation. The problem lay within, and until that was resolved, he could not rest on his laurels. Good morning. Good morning. In contrast to Gushika's cheerful, smiling face, Cheeto's expression was dark. Sena was a little relieved to see that there were no new scars on his face. Hey, brother. Did they tell you to ask for a raise? From the look on Cheeto's face, it seemed that it was a figure of speech. Or rather, he couldn't think of anything else. But I can't accept that. If you have a problem with it, tell Baragaru-san, But then, my brother is. Sena patted Cheeto's head a little roughly and looked pleased. Let's do our best again today. Our goal is 1st place. That's good. I guess we should aim high. Gushika replied cheerfully in response to Sena and put her hand on Cheeto's shoulder. Forget about it when you're working. Otherwise, you will get hurt. Excuse me, are you the people who will be in charge of Section 45 and District 33 today? A girl who had seen that the lots had been decided by lottery and received a map spoke to Sena in a polite manner. Her crisp demeanor and language, and her tight-fitting beautiful girlishness, made him feel that if this were a school, he would unintentionally call her committee chairperson or student council president. Oh yes. And you? We are the party in charge of lot 46 next door today. I'm Raska and over there are Kusto and Dagaru. Oh, that's polite. I'm Sena. The girl is Gushika and Cheeto. Cuck, you're a grown man and you don't even know that. You're so old you want to become a hunter-adventurer. The 2 boys who were with the girl were already in middle school, whispered to each other, as if they were making fun of Sena. No, brother, no. Those people are here to talk about the nests that straddle both plots. I beg your pardon, my partners. I don't think you know this, but the nests that border both parcels are to be attacked jointly by both parties. So we wanted to call on you to discuss that. Compared to the 2 boys, the girls seemed much friendlier. However, the fact that she didn't pay attention to them suggested that there was a bit of a wall, or rather a personality difference, between the girl and the 2 boys. Because it's a children's party, I thought they were all acquaintances or friends to some extent, but this party seems to be a little different. Perhaps it was because they were older than the other children, but the impression he got was a little different. It's not that I'm rude. In fact, yesterday was my first time in this business. And yet, yesterday you were third place. We were fourth. We've never fallen out of fifth place, though. In the end, the boys were probably disappointed to have lost to Sena and his team, to which the girl only let out a small sigh of exasperation. That's right. It's important to continue to produce results in this kind of thing. We'll try to do the same. You know what you're talking about, even though you're an old man. The boys seemed to be in a better mood, and then, perhaps losing interest in them, they began to talk together. Apparently, they left the external negotiations to the girl. I hear you're an Asen. For those kids, that's how it is when you're my size. Anyway, let's talk as we move. Roger that, Ms. Chairman. He tried to be strong with Nayuta, but being treated like an old man stung a little, and he inadvertently reacted to Raska's words. Is it okay? Oh, I said it's fine. The girl Raska had such an air about her. Is that so? Actually, my mother calls me that sometimes, too, so I thought it might mean something. But the way she says it, it doesn't sound like it means much. Oh, really? Well, according to my grandfather, it sounds like a firm caretaker. I see. Understood. Thank you for telling me. Raska thanked him smilingly, but there was a clear, angry aura of anger toward her mother in her mood. That coincidence, I guess. Anyway, on with the job. As for me, I appreciate your party. Pitto hunting can be done by kids because it's a well-organized environment. But if you want to actually produce results, it takes a certain amount of skill. She really is quite a solid girl. They say girls mature faster, but she's special. So being in third place is not something that can be produced by chance or luck alone. Besides, yesterday your plots were in a wooded area. According to the record, no party could have achieved a third-place harvest there. And the newly added map, of course it was just for reference at this stage, but the fact that it covered the entire forest area was astounding. We just stuck to the basics, that's all. It's wonderful that you can do that. In fact, I have had my eye on Gushika for some time. I have even approached her. Really? Yes, I invited her to a party at. A party? But what about them? The boys were so engrossed in their private conversation that they didn't even look at him. Of course, they didn't seem to be on bad terms with each other, but it was more of a business-like relationship. It's more in the future. It's when I'm an adult, when I'm an official hunter-adventurer. I won't be working with them. They and I have different goals. They want to be upper-level hunter-adventurers who aim for the abyss of the magic sea of trees, and I want to hunt pittos and goblins in the neighborhood. Oh, I see. That sounds great. What? His expression was puzzled, unlike her previous squeaky clean look. In a sense, it was a childlike expression. What? What's wrong? Excuse me. It is rare for me to hear you say so. There are many men who say that the goal of a hunter-adventurer is to hunt high-ranking demons and aim for the unknown magical tree abyss, and so on, that. No matter what, the important thing is still the foundation, the base. This kind of living base allows for adventure. The pitto is one of the things that supports a person's food base, so don't despise it. Yes, it is. And as you can see from yesterday's income and expenses, our earnings are not bad, even after taxes are deducted. It's close by, less dangerous, and can be done continuously every day. In fact, it is possible to make as much money as a mid-level hunter-adventurer. We women, for example, can make it our job even while we are married and raising our children. Yes, that's a good plan. But still, it's great that you're thinking about it now. Gushika glanced at Cheeto in confusion. She was worried about what would happen to Cheeto if she continued to work with Raska as they were now. It's not right now. It's still many years away, so you can take your time and think about it. Raska said in a good mood, partly because she was happy that Sena recognized her future plans. Then let's start by checking the den. Gushika, Sena, and Raska checked the structure of the nest from the map and then began reading the nest. After yesterday's experience, Sena was also able to read the nests without visualizing the magical elements. It won't make much difference anyway, so let's just get it over with. There are plenty of other nests out there. But the two boys were not happy, as if they wanted to hurry the process. There's one hole blocked. There must be a new passageway. Well, that would be over there, wouldn't it? Sena quickly spotted one. Heh, you're right. The place of refuge is important to Sena, who has a probability bias. That's why you can predict its location, I guess. Yes, well, I guess so. Sena smiled and quietly headed for a small waterway a short distance away. Don't you know that pittos don't like water? Ignoring the boy's words, Sena called Gushika and Raska. On the bank of the canal, in a grassy area with a slight slope, there was a hole to get in and out of. It hadn't been dug that long, judging by the brand new soil. There it is. But why? Both Gushika and Raska seemed surprised by this. What they were talking about must be common knowledge. When your life is at stake, it doesn't matter what you like or dislike. I see. It's true. Common sense should be questioned at times. Raska took one look at the frustrated boys and nodded in agreement. As a result of the hunt, nearly 80% of the pittos were concentrated in the trap set at the water's edge. After conquering the nests that straddled both sides, the pittos were placed in cages with 2 party numbers. This way they would be split 50-50 when they were recorded. Those 2 guys complained the whole time. It was disgusting. I guess that's the result of being obsessed with recording. When you get used to it, monotonous work tends to become tedious, and each step is neglected in order to focus on the objective and complete the number of steps. There is a difference between being efficient and being lazy. This is a relatively safe hunting ground, but there are no absolutes like yesterday. True. By this time, Cheeto had become seriously aware of Sena's words, and he too was trying to develop his abilities as much as possible, carefully carving each step of the process into his body. What was surprisingly useful at that time was the pointing and checking. It was a method of double-checking with action as well as thought. This is good. Gushika, who had originally learned to exchange commands with hand signals while hunting with her father, immediately recognized its importance. It's starting to come around in a good way. The party began to make good use of the maps and information they had accumulated up to that point, Sena's abilities, Gushika's nest reading, and Cheeto's memory, and the party began to achieve more and more success.